Let's start. Fine. So our topic for today is about semiconductor. So I will introduce to you what is semiconductor. So but uh, before we delve to the main focus of this topic, I will say to you the objectives. Ano. So the first objective that we have is the foundational understanding. So in this first objective, the students were able to explain yung fundamental properties ng semiconductor materials as well as include natin yung mga unique position between the conductors, the insulator on a conductivity spectrum. Ano po? So the second objective that we have here is the semiconductor materials. So i-discuss din natin on how we identify and explain the basic principle ng mga operation for a variety ng mga semiconductor materials. So the third objective that we have is yung mga doping and charge carriers. So we are able here to describe ano ba yung mga process sa doping at saka yung mga effect nun sa mga semiconductor properties. So they will also differentiate between yung N-type at saka yung mga P-type semiconductors. And i-explain natin dito yung concept ng majority at saka yung minority charge carriers. So we will learn also here yung objective 4, which the real world application. So dito explain natin how we're going to connect the theoretical concept of a semiconductor to a practical application in a modern technology. So let's start. So atomic structure. So dito tayo mag-start sa atomic structure. So we can see here that atoms are the basic particles ng mga chemical elements in the fundamental building blocks of matter. So, nung high school po tayo, pag sinabi nating matter, what is matter? Matter is what? So anyone here can explain what is matter? Okay, go ahead. Yes, yes, go ahead.
Anything that occupies space and has mass po.
Yes, exactly. Ano po? It occupies space and has mass. So, an atom class consists of a nucleus na nakikita natin sa ating screen of a protons and a generally neutrons. So, everything we see is built from atoms. Ano po? Which function like a microscopic balancing act ng mga electrical charges. So, at the center na nakikita nyo sa screen po of this neighborhood lies the nucleus. So, nucleus po yan. Ano po? So, a dense core na nakikita nyo dyan containing, ano yun? Protons. Which carry, ano ba ang charge, anong charge ng isang proton? Class. What is the charge ng isang proton? Is it positive? Is it negative? Or so go ahead, go. Yes, yes. What is the charge of a proton? Go, go. Sino? Kung sinong gusto? Toledo. So kahit sino. Hello? Positive. Yes, exactly. So tatandaan niyo ha. Protons is positive. Therefore, ang neutrons, neutral yung charge carrier niya. Ano po? Which are class electrically neutral yung kanyang neutrons. Ano po? So, the orbiting, the core, or the swarm of electrons is what we call the electrons. Ika nga, yun yung nag-orbit sa ating nucleus. Ano po? So, each carrying a what we call the negative charge carriers. Negative charge yung kine-carry ng ating electrons. Ano po? So, in a stable atom class, the positive pull the protons. So, pinupull niya yung protons. Ano po? And perfectly, binabalance po niya yung negative ng mga electrons. So, ganon yung nucleus. So, sa electromagnetic electromagnetic attraction case, is what we keeps the electrons from flying away. So it is much like a what we call this, the gravity keeps the planet orbiting the sun. So parang ganun yung nucleus po. Ano po? It ensure class the entire atom remains electrically stable. Ano po? So ganun yung nucleus. Ganon ang atom structure, the atomic structure. So, we can see here also that sinasabi nila na ang protons daw ay 1,836 times more massive than electron. How can we say that mas mabigat daw pala ang protons compared sa electron? How can we say that? Anyone here? Any clue or no? No idea? Say go. Hello? Meron bang idea why? Why do you think proton is more massive? Masyadong bigat yung proton compared sa electron. Why do you think, class? Hello? Meron bang idea dito? For real? What do you think? Why? Why proton is more massive than electron? Yes, go. One time. Ah, tayo ba? Eh? Because of the positive charge po. Not, yeah, pwede. But before that pala, may tanong ako, may isa pang question. Ah, So what is the charge of the nucleus? If the charge of proton is positive and neutron is neutral, what is the charge of whole nucleus? What do you think? Go, just me.
Zero po.
Zero. Tama ba yun? Tama ba? Tama ba si Jasmine na zero ang nucleus? Mali. Ano? So, hindi po. Ano po? The nucleus, the charge of nucleus is positive. Because yung proton, positive kasi. So yes, may i-add ka ba, James? Yes, always pong positive. Correct.
Sir, ask ko lang po, yung pong ask nyo po kanina kung bakit po mas malakas po ang attraction ng protons kaysa sa electrons. Parang din po ba yun yung system na nagwo-work as sa sun? Kasi parang may nabasa po ako na lahat po tayo is magnetically attractive sa isa't isa. Pero nane-neglect po yun since mas malaki po ang Earth. Kaya mas malakas po yung magnetic.
Yes. Yes, that is the strong force.
Then, kaya po naging positive po ang protons kasi mas malaki po. Kaya po naging positive ang nucleus ay mas malakas po ang force ng protons kaysa sa electrons.
Mas malakas ang proton. Yes, in terms of massiveness. So, sinasabi natin sa science, kung sa mga science teacher, kapag sinabi po natin na ang pinaka-smallest particle is atom, po? Pero may mas maliit pa doon. Pero hindi siya, smallest rin siya, pero yung tinatawag nating quarks, So, kaya lang, hindi nabubuo ang quarks kapag iisa. So, it composed dalawa po siya. Ano? So mas maliit siya compare natin sa isang atom. Because kapag dalawa or more than two ang isang quarks, yun po yung tinatawag nating composite particles. That how the protons and neutrons are consist yung mga quarks. Ano po? So, while we often think class na ang protons, neutrons, or even yung electrons na meron, as the smallest building blocks, there is actually class yung sinasabi nating deeper level to that story. Because yung electrons are what scientists call ano tinatawag natin siya doon? The elementary particles. So, tinatawag din ba natin? Elementary particles yun. So, meaning, they are not made of anything else. So, they are as small as a particle can get. So, ganun yun. However, ano po? However, the protons and the neutrons are the composite particles. So, meaning, ang meaning po ng composite particles, they are as small as particle can get. Ano po? Meaning, they are made of, what do you call this? Even smaller bits na mga quarks na meron. So, it carried by a particle called the gluons. So, kung narinig niyo yung gluons, so yun. It carried a particle called the gluons. And also, since we are discussing or we are going to continue why the proton is more massive than electron, is because one of the most surprising fact in our atomic structure is that the proton is more massive than electron. Because to put in perspective class, yung sinabi nga kanina ni James, um, if an electron class weigh as much as penny, kunyari sa isang Maria, kunyari yun yung weigh niya. So perspective lang to ha. Kung ang electron po ay nagwe-weigh as much as a penny, proton would be weigh as much as 11 pound ng isang bowling ball. So perspective lang yun ha. So ganun po yung pagitan ng massiveness nila. Because this massive difference class isn't just about yung physical size. Hindi naman natin basta inaano lang yung sa physical size niya. So, it's about yung energy. The energy in weight. Ano po? Energy in weight. Tinutukoy natin na dito yung energy ng isang proton. Ano po? And also, because the quarks also. Because the quarks class inside a proton are what do you call moving. Umiibo siya. At incredibly speeds. Napakabilis. And siya yung nag-held together. Kaya tinatawag natin doon, strong force. Ano po? So, they create a massive amount ng binding energy. Kaya mas mabigat po si proton compare kay electron. And also, we have here some sa mga calculator nyo, makikita nyo dyan yung mass ng isang proton. So 1.672 times 10 raised to negative 27 kilogram. So makikita naman natin na mas na siya compare sa electron. So raised to negative 31 yun, yung electron. So 9.109 times 10 raised to negative 31 kilogram naman yung electron. So hindi naman ganun kalaki yung difference ng size ng proton sa neutron. So ang neutron ay 1.674 times 10 raised to negative 27 kilogram. So, napaka-small, yung discrepancy niya, hindi ganun. So, yun yung atomic structure natin. So, before we delve deeper sa ating valence electron, I want to share to you the atomic timeline. So, sabi nung una, nagsimula daw ang lahat nung na-discover ni J.J. Thomson yung electron through his plum pudding model. Pero hindi doon nag-start ang lahat. Nag-start ito, kanino pa? Kay Democritus. So si Democritus po ay friend ko po siya before, ano. So, um, nung dinidiscover niya po yung electron, ay nagkakape po ako doon. So, nagkakape po ako at that time and nakita ko si Democritus kung ano yung ine-experiment niya. Yun pala, through his parang ang experimentation niya, parang style, yung billiard ball. So, sinasabi ni Democritus, so, pinropose niya yung philosophical atomic concept around 400 BC. So, around 400 BCE pa yun. So, sinasabi niya po na sinasuggest niya, class, na yung matter ay nagko-consist ng tiny and indestructible particle at that time. So, at that time, yung atom, isang malaking bilog lang. So, wala pang electron, wala pang proton, wala pang nucleus na ganyan. Isang bilog lang. So, doon simula ang lahat kay Democritus. So, the theory ni Democritus is about, he proposed that all matter is composed of small, indestructible indestructible and particles called atoms. Ano po? And also, ang basis niya at that time is that um, his idea is based on reasoning about the um, nature of matter. Ano po? So after nun, ano po, sinakayo na naman to ni James Dalton. Ano? Around 1800 AD. So after that, sinundan na po ito ni J.J. Thomson. So si J.J. Thomson po ang nakadiscover ng electron noong 1897. Ano po? Kagalingan po noon at that time, si na J.J. Thomson is well known siya. In mayaman po sila. So, um, sila po ay nagkaroon ng hiring. So, nagkaroon ng hiring na gardener. So, ako po ay nag-apply. Isang hardinero po ako that time. So, naabutan ko rin po si J.J. Thomson. So, ang experimentation niya po is about plum pudding model. Doon niya na-discover how electron was being discovered. Ano po? So the electron is the fundamental particle class with a negative charge and a very small mass. Pero hindi lang doon nagtatapos ang lahat. Because na-discover naman ni Ernest Rutherford yung proton. Discover ni Ernest Rutherford yung proton noong 1912. So medyo malaki yung gap. So almost a decade bago na-discover yung proton through the planetary motion. Ano ba? Sa planetary motion. So his work on a gold foil, yun. Yung gold foil experiment, that the nuke daw ay nagko-contain po ng mga positively charged particles. And lastly, si James Chadwick. Ano pa? Si James Chadwick po ang nakadiscover naman ng neutron. Yun yung last. Ano po? Na hindi lang pala proton yung nasa loob ng nucleus. Meron rin pala siyang neutron. So sa neutron, through his quantified orbits. So na-discover niya ito noong 1932. So fun fact lang class because kasama nila ako nung na-discover yan. Saksi ako doon. So friend ko sila. So Chadwick class who discovered the neutron was a student of Ernest Rutherford. Ang galing. So sa Ernest Rutherford man, student niya nun, si J.J. Thomson. Ganun yung connection pala nung una. Ang galing, ano? So, nung nalaman natin yung mismong atomic structure class, dyan na pumasok yung modern quantum cloud model. Yan, siya na yung quantum. Ano po? Yung dyan na lumabas sina Newton, ano po? Sina Albert Einstein. Yan. So, dun po. Through the quantum. So, after ng atomic structure, yun yung quantum. So next, we have here the valence electron. So um, for the valence electron class, um, those electrons that reside in the outer shell surrounding an atomic nucleus is what we call the valence electron. Kunyari, for example, class, nakikita nyo sa screen, silicon. Silicon have a proton of 14. Neutron din niya, 14. Ano po? So, may tinatawag tayong um, octet rule. So, para ma-solve po natin yung kung ilan ba yung nagre-reside na electron per orbital shell, ano pong equation dyan? O formula? That is 2n squared. So, kunwari, sa first shell, so, substitute natin yung 1 sa n. So, 1 squared is 1 times 2. So, 2 electron yung first orbital shell natin. Nagagets po? As of now, all goods? Yun. So, next, sa second shell, 8 electron. Ano po? Why? Yung sa second, 2 ilagay natin doon sa n, substitute natin sa n, then squared is 4 times 2 na nasa labas is 8n. So, nagagets as of now? Is there any question, clarification, or violent reaction before we go? Before we proceed? Then so far. So far, so good. Okay. Okay. So, the octet rule po na nakalagay dyan is the maximum number of the valence electron is 8. Meaning, 8 yung maximum nung mismong orbital shell na nag-reside yung electron. So, let's go back to the valence electron itself. Pag sinabi pong valence electron, kunwari po, before that pala, I want to discuss to you ano muna pala yung atomic number. So, yung atomic number class is the number of protons in an atom's nucleus which defines kung ano ba yung element niya. Kunwari, ang proton niya ay 14. Therefore, siya ay silicon. Kunyari, ang proton niya ay 1. So, ano yon? Hydrogen. Ano po? So, dun nakadepende sa atomic number niya. So, ano po, sir, ang difference? Sorry. Ano po ang difference niya sa atomic mass? So, yung atomic mass or the atomic weight, isa lang yun. It is the weighted average ng mga atomic masses na nakikita natin of all the isotopes of an element. Pag sinabi natin class ni isotopes, so ito yung variation ng same element with different number ng mga neutrons in their nucleus. So wag malilito po doon na sa atomic number at atomic weight. So let's go back. Since nalaman natin na ang atomic number ay 14, therefore it is a silicon. So pag silicon siya, 14. So may 14 electrons. May 14 na number ng proton rather. So yung proton, yung mga since 14 yung protons niya, 14 yung neutrons niya, ilalagay natin sa mismong orbital shell, yung 14 na yun. Nilagay natin yung 14, ang unang per shell, dalawa. So, 12 na lang. So, sa second shell, 8. So, ilan na lang natira? 4. Ano? Yung natirang yun yung tinatawag nating valence electron. Nagigets mo? Nagigets? Yun. All guys. So, next is the energy band. So, nagigets po as of now? Gets pa naman. So, dyan may introduction pa lang naman. So, energy band. Sa energy band po, class, when trillions of atoms together, to form a solid, yung individual energy niya, class, is blur into a energy bands. So, yung energy bands, so tinatawag din siyang energy gap or even band gap, isa lang po yun. They are all the same. So, the two most important na malaman nyo dito is the valence band. Ito yung where electrons class are tied to their parent atoms. And the conduction band na nakikita nyo. Ano po? Sa conduction band class, yung atoms naman, yung electrons naman po are free to move. So, ang nais lang sabihin po, kapag po ang band ay nag-o-overlap, therefore, we can say that it is a conductor. Kapag naman po ang band gap ay malaki, therefore, it is a insulator. So, insulator class have a large band gap, making it class a nearly impossible for electrons para mag-jump across. Therefore, next, we have here the conductors. Sa conductor naman class, the bands actually overlap mo po. And it allow class yung electrons para mag-flow nearly or freely with almost no effort. Hindi naman kailangan nilang mag-effort pa para magtumalon sa isa. Because nag-overlap na sila. Kaya yun, kung makikita nyo, kunyari sa isang kawali, sa analogy ng kawali. Kapag yung mismong kawali at binigyan mo ng heat, mas greater yung heat if the energy gap is greater than the heat applied class. Then, the electrons will not be able to move. Sabihin, mas malaki yung energy gap, yung band gap. So, kunyari sa kawali, mas mataas, like yung mga rubber, mas mataas yung energy gap nila eh. Therefore, kapag hinawakan mo yung kawali na may rubber or something insulator, hindi ka mapapasok. Because mataas yung kanyang energy gap. Unlike sa mga conductor mismo. Pa? So, are we clear on that? Nagigets po? Yon. So, the energy class is measured in electron volts. Nakikita nyo dyan, ha? It is the energy required to move or transfer a valence electron at the valence band to the conduction band. So, the energy is measured in electron volts or yung EV. Po? So, yung 1 EV po or 1 electron volt is equal saan po? Sa 1.6 times 10 raised to negative 19 joules. So, saan po natin yung kinuha? This is calculated class using the formula for work. Ano ba yung formula for work? Work is equals to QV. Ano yung Q? That is the energy or the charge of an electron. And ano po yung V? That is voltage. Therefore, work is equals to the charge of electron times the voltage. Ano po? So yun. Kaya meron tayong 1 electron volt. So, I want to share, before tayo mag-proceed to another slide, the brief history class ng octet rule. Bakit ba may octet rule kanina? One of my cousin, and cousin ko siya before, great cousin, because na yan, tagal na eh. So, kung kilala niyo si Gilbert Lewis. So, si Gilbert Lewis class, isa siyang American chemist. Si Gilbert Lewis po class ay nag-propose ng cubic atom. So, hindi lang cubic atom siya, kundi at saka yung octet rule. So, he realized class at that time that the atoms were essentially social. Ano po? So, it's seeking class yung stability ng mga noble gases. So, sinisik niya yung stability ng noble gases and by filling yung kanilang mga outer shells. So, kaya tayo may octet rule. Ano po? Because of that. And quantum beginnings. For the quantum beginnings, mga around 1920s na yun or 1900s, ano po? Sinasabi ng mga physicists daw po na in-explore ng mga physicists yung quantum world. Ano po? They realized class that the electrons weren't just dots. Hindi lang siya basta tuldok. Ano po? But wave siya ng mga probabilities. So, since wave siya ng probabilities, so, noong 1928, dinevelop yung isang math na nag-show how the electrons behave saan po? Sa mga crystal lattice. So, since nagbe-behave yun sa crystal lattice, nagfo-form siya ng mga black waves or tinatawag nating band theory. So, we can see here also in energy band, sa conduction band for silicon, the common semiconductor is silicon, germanium, and gallium arsenides. So, they are the common semiconductor. Ano po? So, the energy gap for silicon is 1.1 electron volts. Ano po? So, almost nasa middle siya. Ano? Hindi almost, nasa middle talaga siya. Kaya nga tinawag na common semiconductors. So, nasa middle sila. So, ito yung kanilang energy gap. So, for germanium, we have 0.67 electron volts. And for gallium arsenide or GaAs, we have 1.43 electron volts. So, napakahalaga niyan. Ano po? So, napakahalaga ng value ng common semiconductor na meron tayo. So, any questions before we proceed to definition mismo ng mga conductors, semiconductor, and insulator? May question po ba? Or masyado pong mabilis, sir? And so far, ano yun? Wala, gusto ko lang boses niyo. Feeling ko antok na kayo. May kakanta ba dito? Bombarded na agad sa information. Introduction lang po ng semicon. Wala pa tayo sa literal na semicon. So, in-introduce pa lang natin mismo yung mga common semiconductors. That is the introduction of the semiconductors. Ano po? And so far, parang tamad na si Karil. Oh. Wala. Walang question. Walang question. Okay. So, ako may question. Since ayaw nyo mag-question, so, if silicon class that we can see on our screen has a 1.1 electron volts band gap, yun yung band gap niya eh. Ano? So, and germanium has a 0.67 electron volt. Ano? So, mas maliit si germanium. So, pagliit ng band gap class, pagganda as a semiconductor. Ano po? Why do we use silicon for most electronics if it takes more energy class to move the electrons? Di ba? Kung iisipin nyo, si germanium, maliit yung kanyang energy gap. So, dapat mas gamit yun dahil mas maliit eh. Eh, bakit si silicon ang mostly ginagamit? Ano? What do you think, class? Is there any idea? What do you think? Wait lang sir, sa-search ko lang po kay ChatGPT. So why do you think? 'Di ba, mapapaisip kayo, si maliit yung energy gap. Si silicone medyo malaki ng kaunti. Bakit si silicone pa din yung mostly na ginagamit? Why do you think? Yes, go, James.
Sir, siguro po dahil po siya po yung nasa gitna po nung bandgap, mas madali pong ma-manipulate. Mas stable po compare po dun sa dalawa.
Okay. Nandun na yung right word, yung exact word. Sige, go. Sino pa? Wala na po. Uy, 87 kayo dito ha. 87. 7 kayo. So may nawawalang 5. So nawawala yung 5. So yes, exactly. Because of the thermal stability na isang silicon. Thermal stability and also the ability class na mag-form ng isang high quality oxide layer. Ano po yung oxide layer? Yun yung mostly na natin, yung silicon oxide. Yung silicon oxide class, feeling ko na i-discuss na yun sa inyo because it is good for manufacturing. Maganda siya for manufacturing. Ang silicon oxide. So, maganda yon, high quality siya compare sa germanium. At medyo mas mahal po si germanium. Ano po? So next, we can see here the periodic table of elements. So how interesting it is, di ba? Because yung first column natin is hydrogen. So that is the hydrogen group, and then beryllium. So alkaline earth metals yun. And then the boron group, the carbon, also the nitrogen until the helium. So the rest, yung 21 until 30 class, they are the transition metals. So pag transition metals hindi natin kasama. So for conductors class, tatandaan niyo class, yung 1, 2 at 3. So ang bilang kasi natin dyan class, dito 1, 2 at saka 3 yung boron. Yan po. So they are the conductors. Lahat po ng pababa ng columns na yun, they are conductors. Ano po? Tinuro ba sa inyo siya ng science? Ng science niyo? Tinuro? Yung physics? Sure. Ang iba tinuro, ang iba hindi. Sure kayo ha. Okay. The 1 to 3 or those are the conductors. Yung pang-apat, which is the carbon group, yun yung semiconductor. So the rest from 5 to 8, they are the insulators. So kapag sinabing ang element ay selenium or even sulfur or chlorine, they are insulators made up of yung element na yun, kunyari made up ganito. So they are insulator. So semiconductor, the carbon, the silicon, the germanium. It also include the tin, the lead, and also the lead and the flerovium. So next is the conductor. So let's start here. Na po. So class, conductor. So sinasabi natin na ang conductor have a low resistance. Sabihin, pag sinabing resistance, yung pagpipigil na mag-flow yung kuryente. Ano? Pag sinabi nating conductor, ibig sabihin, mas madaling makapag-flow yung current. Ano? Kaya nga siya conductor eh. Ano? Conductor have a low resistance, so electron can flow through them with ease. So, kung makikita natin yung kanyang valence electrons class, 1 to 3 yung conductor. So makikita niyo yung sa periodic table of elements na present ko sa inyo kanina sa screen. So ang conductor, 1 to 3 yung valence electrons. So music class, conductor, he have a positive temperature coefficient. Ano po? So malaman nyo, maybe on Friday, doon sa mga Friday or Thursday ang schedule, yung ating computation, some of the computation here under the introduction to semiconductors. Ano po? And sinasabi rin conductor ay ang good conductor, they are the copper, the silver, even yung mga gold and aluminum. Ano? They are all conductors. So, a conductor class is facilitates what we call the ease or the easy flow ng electron from one atom papunta sa iba pang atom where the proper application ng isang voltage na meron. Ano po? So, in some materials class, there is an overlapping ng conductor at saka yung valence band. So, which mean, class, na yung electrons, nagmo-move siya between yung two overlapping bands. Ano po? So, yun po, yung conductor. So, next, we have here the insulator. So, insulator have a high resistance. So, current does not flow in. So, pag sinabi ng ating high resistance, mataas po yung pagpipigil. So, nagpipigil ng ano po? Ng kuryente na dumadaan. Apo. So we can see here also that insulator have 5 to 8 valence electron. So nakikita natin, those are yung mga wood, glass, ceramic, plastic, or sa element natin, yun yung from 5 to 8 valence electron. So 5 to 8 yon. So insulator also have a negative temperature coefficient. Ano po? So, an insulator class, piniprevent niya, inulit ko lang, piniprevent kayong flow ng energy between the two objects. For example, insulator class may prevent the flow of electric heat or sound. So, yung thermal insulator, like mga thermal insulators, nire-reduce niya class yung pag-transfer ng heat between yung two objects of a uh, different different temperature na meron. So thermal insulator also class is duties by reflecting the thermal energy. So the insulative capacity po ng isang material is the inverse of a thermal conductivity. So therefore, class, those materials with low thermal conductivity will have high insulating capability or the resistance value na meron. So next, we have here the semiconductors. Yan po ang semiconductor natin. So semiconductor class are materials that essentially can be conditioned para mag-act as a good conductor or good insulator or anything in between. So semiconductor, sila po yung nasa 4 valence electrons. Ano po? So some of the semiconductors, they are the carbon, the silicon, the germanium, gallium arsenide, ano po? So yung mga nakikita natin sa ating mga LED, ano? Gallium arsenide. Ano? So kapag depende pa yun sa kulay, ano? So malalaman niyo yan sa mga susunod, ano? Through ating experimentation laboratory natin, yung semiconductor. So for more definition ng isang semiconductor, with moderate conductivity class, a semiconductor has a conductivity value between a conductor such a silver, ano pa nga, silver and an insulator. So meaning, kapag yung resistance ng isang semiconductor nagfo-fall sa, meaning ng class, kapag semiconductor, nasa middle siya, always. Hindi tumataas sa ganon kalaking energy gap at hindi bumababa na nag-overlap na sila. So, laging yun lang yung nais sabihin, isang semiconductor. Ano po? So, are we clear on that? Hello? No. Parang kakaunti lang yung pumunta. So far, so good. Some of here, napakaseryoso. So marami na kayong kaibigan na nakakilala. Mas marami pa kayong kaibigan makikilala sa mga susunod. So, next slide. So, next slide po is the semiconductor materials. So, yung mga next slide po, dito tayo matatapos. Tapusin muna natin at this moment for the semiconductor materials. So, yung mga susunod na slide for Thursday and Friday. Ano po? So, this is the last slide. Semiconductor materials. We have here a silicon. So, a silicon class, yun yung element with atomic number na 40. And yung atomic weight niya is 28. So, makikita naman natin yun sa periodic table of elements, di ba? So, in its pure state class, silicon appears class as a lightweight. Napakagaan niya. Lightweight metal. Similar siya saan? Sa isang aluminum. Ano po? Kapag in a pure state. Kapag purong-puro. Walang hinahalong chemical. Kumbaga sa atin ay, kumbaga sa amin ay pure. Parang siya? Paano sabihin? Kalimutan ko to. Basta pure siya. Walang hinahalo siya. So, yung pure silicon class, nagkakonduct siya ng mga electric currents better than sa mga dielectric material na meron. Ano po? So, the Earth's crust class contains the silicon in a great abundance. So, napakadami ng silicon. So, we mine it class from saan pa nga to? From some crustal rocks. Ano po? So, mga crustal rocks natin, sa mga sand, ano po? Yan, yung mga silicon doon. So, ano pa ba? Sa mga natural states niya class, in its natural state class, silicon class almost always exist or tied up. Saan po? Sa mga compounds with other elements in a natural state. So, sa mga industrial vendors, sa industrial vendors class, it extract yung mga pure element niya. I-extract niya yung pure element. Diba dati kapag hahanap natin yung silicon sa mga crystal rocks, sa mga sand, so sa mga industrial, ina-extract nila yon. Sa manufacturing, sa mga industrial. So, na-extract nila yon kaya nakakakuha tayo ng mga silicon. So, doon natin sila nakukuha. So, next, we have here the gallium arsenide muna. Gallium arsenide. So, sa gallium arsenide class, it is the semiconductor material wherein a compound of element gallium in the arsenic. So sinasabi dito, gallium and arsenic that is used para mag-make po ng mga electronic or even yung mga opto-electronic devices. So, ang another common semiconductor is what we call the gallium arsenide. So, di ba tatlo yon yung mostly common, the silicon, the germanium, and the gallium arsenide. So, one of the most common semiconductor materials are the gallium arsenide. So, magkakalimutan yun ano. So, engineers like us or even technicians, ano ba, sinusulat natin yung acronym like chemical symbol na gas because of gallium and the arsenic or the arsenate. So gas. So it pronounced class as gas. It pronounced as gas. So if you hear about yung gas FETs, ano po, yung mga gas FETs, yung mga gas ICs, mga gas integrated circuits, pag nakakarinig kayo ng class, it is about gallium arsenide technology. Diba? So, yan yung gallium arsenide technology. In gas devices class, perform well saan po? Sa mga higher frequencies. Sa pag matataas yung mga frequency, yung ginagamit ang gallium arsenide. So, napakamahal ng isang gallium arsenide. Ano po? So, pina-perform siya sa mga higher frequencies, saan pa ba? Sa mga silicon-based devices. Because, bakit po? Because electric current class can travel faster through gallium arsenide compare sa mga silicon compounds. Pero, in thermal stability, mas magaling po si silicon. So, you will also find class yung gas na ginagamit sa mga photovoltaic cells. Saan pa? Sa mga infrared LEDs. And also, sa mga laser diodes. Diba? Yung remote natin, pag tayo mag-ano lang sa TV natin, di ba yung pula, nakita nyo? Gallium arsenide, yung gamit. Ano po? Through infrared LEDs. Ano po? So next, we have here a selenium in a metal oxide. So selenium class is a semiconductor element that is a photoconductor. So tatandaan yun ha, photoconductor. So meaning, yung conductivity class niya nagbabago with exposure sa ilaw. Nagbabago siya with exposure to light. In the class, yung metal oxide naman, such as yung zinc oxide or the ZNO, it also have a semiconducting properties and widely used siya sa mga electronics, yung mga metal oxides. Ano po? So, sinasabi na ang selenium raw po is a chemical element whose yung kanyang po mismong electrical conductivity nagbabari depending sa intensity ng ultraviolet or infrared radiation na tumatama. Ano po? So, all the semiconductor materials have this property. Anong tawag doon sa property na yun? It is called the photoconductivity. That is photoconductivity. Ano? So, to some degree, but in selenium, it is photoconductivity. So, the effect is pronounced. Ano po? So, we have also here a germanium. So, this is the last semiconductor materials that I will explain to you. So, germanium class is one of the element or common element ng isang semiconductor. Ano, di ba? Tatlo sila, silicon, germanium, and gallium arsenide. So, ang germanium po, pure element siya, elemental na germanium, nagkukonsist siya ng mga poor electrical conductor. So, poor electrical conductors si germanium. That's why isa siyang semiconductor. Ano po? So it becomes a semiconductors only when kapag nag-add tayo ng impurities. If we add the impurities to germanium, nagiging semiconductor siya. Ano po? So, in the early years, class, in the early years, ano po, yung semiconductor technology or engineer, ginagamit yung germanium-based component niya far more often than they do now. In fact, class, yung rarely na-encounter natin yung germanium device in any electronic system today. Ano po? Because high yung kanyang temperature. Kaya niya, such as yung pagsusolder natin ng mga tools na generate. It can also, yun pala, yung disadvantage niya. Sorry. Ang disadvantage niya is yung high temperature nga pag ginamit nyo siya. And also, kapag sinosolder natin yung tools na nagge-generate class, it can destroy class yung germanium-based diode or transistor. So, yun pala yung kanyang disadvantage. So, madali siyang mag-init. Pag ginagamit. So, kaya ang silicon ay good for thermal stability. Kaya kahit sabihin nating mataas ang energy gap ni silicon compared kay germanium, kahit si germanium 0.67, si silicon 1.1, gamit pa rin si silicon because of their thermal stability. Ano po? So, that is the semiconductor materials. Yung semiconductor materials class, ito yung mga various elements or compounds or even yung mga mixture na nagpa-function as a semiconductors. So, although yung mga vast majority ng mga semiconductors natin ginagamit sa mga electronics industry today are based sa mga silicon, there are other semiconductor materials class that are sometimes used sa mga specialized application. Ano po? So, may nagpapa-admit pa. So, as of now, we are done for the introductory. Next Saturday and next Thursday and Friday, we're going to discuss the temperature coefficient of resistance as well as the types of semiconductor. We're going to describe the intrinsic and extrinsic on how the purity na meron, how pure we are or the semiconductors are, in the doping and the dopants. So, yan, ma-discuss natin. And also, yung charge carriers. And lastly, for that is the application of semiconductor. So, for now, yun muna. All goods. So, is there any question, clarification, or violent reaction? Hello po? None so far? Okay. Pag mga Gen Z pala talaga, ganon. Puro mga yung napipin na. So, mapipipin din ang grades niyo. Talaga. Nasabi ko sa inyo. So, for all, from ICE to 201 hanggang 203, so it is a merge class tuwing Tuesday. So, maybe may pupunta or may magpapap sa inyo na ibang schedule like Wednesday, I think. Baka kasi mag-iba yung schedule nyo ng Tuesday, baka maging Wednesday, pero same pa rin tayo. Tuesday pa din, So, ang retain lang is yung Monday for the face-to-face and also yung Thursday and Friday, yung may even and all. So, retain yun. So, ngayon, hanggang sa susunod na weeks, the Tuesday is for merge class. Are we clear on that? Okay. So thank you so much for your time in Padayan Engineers. Thank you.
Sige po, sir.
Taking to
Thank you po. Thank you po, sir. Thank you po. Bye po. Thank you po, sir. Bye-bye. Bye-bye po. Thank you po. Maraming salamat.